As I've mentioned, that lipids play also an important role. Lipid membrane plays an important role in adhesion of cells and recognition of cells. So let's look at that process. Cells are in multicellular organisms are arranged into tissues. These cells which are present within a tissue, they have special features or special molecules on their membrane that can recognize each other. A simple experiment, a sponge, as we know, sponges are marine animals. If we take a sponge, we dissociate the cells of that sponge. Now cells are existing individually, they are not attached to each other. If we put these cells in a container and shake that container around, these cells will again join each other and they will stick to each other as they were in the original tissue. We can do a different experiment. We can take cells from two different sponges, put them in a beaker, and now if we shake the beaker around, the cells from one sponge will only stick to the cells of the same kind of sponge, and vice versa. So these cells have ability to recognize their own kind of cells. They know that these are the cells they need to interact with, and they'll stick with them. Sticking with another cell is a feature of membrane. These membranes, as I have mentioned, have specific proteins that allow these cells to stick with each other. Another way of sticking between two cells is that, for example, we know gametes fuse with each other. Sperm and egg, for example, fuse with each other. That process is also facilitated by proteins embedded in the plasma membrane. How does a sperm know that it has to fuse with an egg and not any other cell in the tissue? This is due to the reason that sperm cells have specific membrane proteins that can distinguish membrane proteins present in the egg cell. They interact with those proteins that allows these two cells to fuse with each other. So we can say that there are two types of adhesions. One of them is homotypic, in which two similar type of cells with similar type of protein molecules attach with each other using the same molecule. In heterotypic binding, the cells have two different types of proteins on their surface. These two different type of proteins can interact with each other like a lock and key and allow two different type of cells to bind and interact with each other. Now let's look at the special type of cells, epithelial cells, and let's look at the organization of these cells and how these cells are attached to each other and how these cells communicate with each other. These cells, we are going to talk about three types of adhesion molecules in these cells. Tight junctions, as you can see on your screen, they are present at the apical region of these cells. These tight junctions prevent any type of molecule to pass through the space between the cells. These epithelial cells, I would like to point out, are generally present, and they are present at the lining, and they make up the lining of intestines, for example, or different vesicles, blood vessels, for example. So they prevent leakage or seeping of fluid or materials between the cells into the rest of the body. And it's an important feature of these membranes that they have these tight junctions. Another type of junction or adhesion I want to talk about is desmosomes. I've previously briefly mentioned it. At specific regions in membrane, special protein molecules accumulate. These molecules are very sticky molecules, and they can stick with the same type of molecules present on an adjacent cell. These desmosomes are basically structures of these sticky molecules plus some associated proteins. All these proteins are attached intermediate filaments. It's a type of cytoskeleton we have talked about, which has said that this structure basically acts like a touch button. These touch buttons are basically connecting to different cells which are sitting adjacent to each other. And these rope-like structures are running throughout the cells and basically generating tissue integrity. These filaments, as I've mentioned previously, resist tension. Also, you will notice that there are special type of junctions, special type of molecules present at the interface of two lipid membranes or cell membranes, these are gap junctions made up of a special type of protein called connexons. These connexons, 6 of them, the spore which goes through the lipid bilayer, and these connexons can interact with connexons of adjacent cell and form a pore between two different cells. Water molecule, small molecules can pass through these connexons, thereby linking these two cells in a way that they can communicate with each other. They can exchange small molecules and ions. They can be electrically coupled due to these connexons, which is an important thing for certain type of cells and certain tissues. So let's look at another part of our transport that can occur between two cells or between a cell and its environment. There's a passive transport, which is the type of transport which will happen through the connexons or gap junctions. It does not require any energy. Materials between two different cells can pass through just by simple process of diffusion. Active transport, however, requires energy, and specific molecules are either taken in by the cell or expelled out of the cell. This process requires energy, which is generally provided by ATP.